What is a method in C Sharp? This is a very simple and basic. Here is a normal class and this is our normal method. Remember, constructor and property are also specialized methods only, and I have explained them in my previous videos. Okay, so the simple definition is a method is a code block that contains a series of statements. Okay, all your logic will mostly you will write inside the methods only. That's it. What is the difference between pass by value and pass by reference parameters? Let's try to understand this with the help of code. This is the example of pass by value. Okay, here we are setting the variable x and y some integer value. Then we are printing that value. Now we are calling one method which name is pass by value. Here we are passing the x and y as parameters, and here is our method. And here after the values via parameter, we are assigning new values to x and y like this. And then after the method call, we are printing x and y again. Okay. But here you can see the new assigned values are not printed. Old values 5 and 10 are printed only. The reason is when by default this variable x and this variable x have different addresses in memory. They are not the same variables. They are different. Yes, the value is passed, but the variable address is different. So if you assign anything here, that will not reflect here. Okay, that is passing parameters by value. But suppose we want to maintain the changes in x and y here and want to see this as output. Okay, these values as output. For that, we will use passing parameters by reference. Here is the code. Exactly same code, everything same. Except in front of parameters, we have used ref keyword. Now same, first we printed x and y, then we call the method by pass by reference. Now this ref keyword will make sure we pass the address also. So now the x variable and this x variable have same address and same value. And if you will change anything in this x and y, that will be changed up there in the method also. So this time the new output will be carry the new values of the x and y. I hope now it is clear to you when you have to use the pass by value and when you have to use the pass by ref in the parameter. How to return more than one value from a method in C Sharp. Now this is the use of ref keyword in real applications. Okay, when you call some method, you can return only one value from that by default. Okay, but if you use ref parameter, then these values are also like the new returning values, right? So the answer is, if you can return more than one values from the, if you want to return more than one values, you can use by using ref and out keywords. Out keyword is also used for passing by reference only, like ref keyword. I will explain the difference between ref and out in another video. Also, you can return multiple values, like this is one way, ref and out, to return multiple values. The other way is by using list and array list or any collection in the return type. In that case, then you have to save multiple values in a single collection, and then you can return that collection from the calling method. So that is another way to return more than one values from a method. So this is the answer of this question. Here is a very important question from interview perspective. What is the difference between out and ref parameters? I already explained ref parameter in my previous video. Here we will discuss the differences. See this code carefully. Here we are using two variables a and b. Okay. Then we are passing these two variables using update method. A variable is using out and b variable is using ref keyword. And same way we are receiving here in the method. Now first rule of passing by reference is the address of a and c and b and d will be same. Okay, so the changes in variable will persist and maintained. This is the first rule of passing by reference. Now the first difference between these two keywords is, in case of out parameter, no need to initialize out parameter before passing it. See, I have not initialized this variable a. Okay, but in case of ref parameter, you must initialize this ref parameter b, else compiler will throw an error. Second difference is, out parameter a must be initialized before returning. See, I set the value of out parameter c equal to 100 here. If you will not initialize it, then you will get an compiler error here for out parameter. But for ref parameter D, initialization or assigning value is not mandatory before returning. You can assign or not assign, it's up to you. So these are the two differences between ref and out parameter. In short, you can say when to use out and when to use ref parameter. Use out parameter to return a new and fresh value, okay, and use ref parameter, ref keyword, to modify an existing value. I hope the differences and the use is clear to you now. What is params keyword? When to use params keyword in real applications? Let's see the code first. Here you can see inside the main method we are calling add method where we are passing multiple parameters. And in add method definition, we are receiving those parameters value in an array by using the params keyword. And then we are using for each loop to iterate those parameters received one by one. Okay, so that is the purpose of params keyword. Right now here are 4 parameters, but you can pass 5, 6, 7 or any number of parameters here. That is the use of params keyword. It is useful when programmer do not have any prior knowledge about the number of parameters to be passed, okay, when you don't know how many parameters are going to come. So the definition is params keyword is used as a parameter which can take the variable number of arguments. What are optional parameters in a method? It is a very simple and beneficial. See, here is the main method from where we are calling add optional method. Okay, now you might think here we are using method overloading. We have 2 methods, right? But here is the twist. We have only one method here like this. Now this method have this third parameter with a default value. So this third parameter is an optional parameter. When you will not pass this third parameter from the method like this, then default value will be taken. Right now the default value is 50. And if we call the method with the third parameter like 3 parameters, then the value which is passed is taken and it will ignore the default value. So the definition is optional parameters allows some arguments which are not mandatory to pass and their default value is set. That's it. What are named parameters in a method? As always, let's see the code first. See, here inside the main method, we have the normal way to call the method. And another one is with name parameters. Okay, this A, B, C are the name of the parameters. That is why it is called named parameters. And here is the add method definition. Now, what is the benefit of this named parameter here? We do not have to maintain the sequence in this case. Normally, when we pass the parameters, we have to pass in the same sequence, okay? Otherwise, it will mismatch. But here, it is not required. For example, A is first parameter here and it will match this based on the name, not by the position or sequence, okay? Not a very big beneficial these named parameters are, but this is it. The definition is named parameters are used to specify an argument based on the name of the argument and not the position or sequence. That's it. Now here is a very important question which is asked in many interviews. What are extension methods in C#? When to use extension methods in real applications? That is even more important. As always, let's start to understand with the help of code. Here you can see a string test which value is hello world. Okay, now you know string is a class provided by .NET framework and this method like substring which will get a string from the left position, right? So the value of this left string will be like hello. Okay, now suppose in your application at multiple places we need a method which will get the string from the rightmost position. So for example, we need this method, write substring. This is the name of the method we need. In this method, we will pass the value 5 and it will get the last 5 characters of the string. Now we need this method, but .NET string class do not provide or do not have any such kind of method. And we even can't add this method in the string class because we do not have the access of the string class, right? It is there somewhere in the base classes of the .NET framework. We do not have the code. So now how to add this method write substring in the string class? The answer is with the help of extension methods. So see, here is the code. First we will create a string class, a string extension, and will define a write substring method inside it. Here first, in the first parameter, we will give the name of the class with this keyword for which we are adding the method. In our case, we are adding this extension method for string class. That's why we have given here the name string, okay, string class. Then we will give other normal parameters of the method which the method will accept. So this count will receive 5 in our case, like from above, right? Then inside the method, you can write the logic for getting the right 5 characters from the string. I'm not explaining the logic because the real purpose is to understand the extension method, not the write substring logic here. That's it. You have added a new method in string class without even modifying the actual string class. So this method you have added is not you have added in the actual string class, right? So that is the main purpose of extension method. Now if you will print write and run this program, then the output will receive hello, this is from the left string, and world you will receive from the this write string, okay? So now any other developer can use this write substring extension method for a string class in the same project. Interesting, right? So the definition is extension method allows you to add new methods in the existing class without even modifying the source code of the original class. Okay, that is the definition, but let's see some more points about it. First is extension methods must be static because this will directly called from the class name, right? You are not creating the object of the string class and then you are calling, right? So that's why this method should be static. And since the method is static, therefore this class string extensions will be also static, okay? Because why the class is static? So if all the methods of a class are static, then it's better to put the class itself as the static, okay? Second point is about extension method is this keyword is used for binding this method with the main class. So this method write substring with the main string, the original string class, that binding will be done by this keyword, okay? If you are creating the extension method of some other class ABC, then you must give the name of that class along with this keyword here. Finally, the use, what is the use of the extension method is use them when you want to add a method in a class which code you don't have, right? Like in this case, you don't have the code of a string class. Suppose there is a third party library for that library class, you want to add some method in your own application. So you can extend that class and add one extension method for that class. So this is the use case. This is the real use case of the extension methods. That's the answer of the extension methods. What are delegates in C#? When to use delegates in real applications? Now this delegates is a very important concept for interviews, but in real projects I have seen very few projects which use it basically. One project I used this in a WinForm application, but alright, because it is important we have to cover this. So let's see the code first. See, here inside the class we have two static methods, add and mul, okay? These methods have same return type void and same number of and type of parameters, okay? Now there can be some other methods like this also, like subtract, divide, etc, etc. Now you can see these methods are a bit similar, so we can declare a delegate calculator for them like this. Got it? So what is a delegate? A delegate is a variable that holds the reference to a method, or you can say it's a pointer to a function. Like this calculator delegate is pointing or referencing to this add method. Second point is A delegate can refer to more than one methods of same return type and parameters. Okay, return type and parameters of all the methods must be same. See, here is the calculator delegate is pointing to multiple methods, but all these methods, return type and number of parameters are same. Now the question is when to use delegates. Like this, see inside the main method here, we are instantiating the delegate and passing the method name add as a parameter of delegate, and then calling the delegate by passing the other parameters values. Okay, so first we are passing the method as a parameter, and then the parameters which the normal parameters of that method or delegate. So the use of the delegate is when we need to pass a method as a parameter, then we use delegate. Okay, similarly here we can replace add with the mul method parameter, and then you will get the output like 20 into 30, which is 600. So that's it, that is the delegate, and the use of the delegate is clear. What are multicast delegates? Now this is a next level question of delegates. Okay, so let's see the code first. For example, here is the same code which I explained when I explained delegates. Remember, two methods add and mul with same return type and parameters will be referred or pointed by calculator delegate. Then here we are passing add method as a parameter, and then we are passing the values 20 and 30 as the parameter values, and it will print 20 plus 30 50 as the output. Okay, that is a simple delegate. Now what is the multicast delegate? If I will simply add this line, this small code, this means when this delegate is invoked here, then it will first run add function and then it will run multiply function automatically one by one in sequence. So single delegate now executing multiple methods at the same time, and the output will be like this. This is the addition and this is the multiplication. So the definition is a multicast delegate in C# is a delegate that holds the reference of more than one function. That's it, easy and simple. What are anonymous delegates in C#? Let's see the code first. Do you see any methods or function here in the class like except the main method? Do you see any other method here? No, right? But here we have the delegate declared. So what the delegate is doing here? Delegate is a reference to a method, and we have no method here. Then without the method, how can the delegate exist? The answer is the method body has been provided inline here. See the code between these two curly braces. It is the body of the method, but there is no need to assign it a name. So that is anonymous delegate, which refers to an anonymous method. An anonymous method means in English which has no name. A method which has no name, only body inline. Okay, so the definition is delegates pointing methods without the name are called anonymous delegates. That's it, simple. What are the differences between events and delegates? Here I will explain what you have to tell to the interviewer or you have to explain to anyone. Okay, first thing is, what is event? The event is a notification mechanism that depends on delegates only. Okay, see here delegates depends on function, and similarly event depends on delegates. That means an event is dependent on a delegate and cannot be created without delegate. Okay, event is like a wrapper over the delegate to improve its security. Now how it is improving this security? So if you have ever worked in ASP.NET WinForms, then you know this kind of button click events, right? Now actually on that button click event, several functions in sequence are called by the .NET framework, and that is with the help of the multicast delegates. Okay, but can you see those delegates? Can you modify those delegates? Can you modify those function? No, as a developer you cannot modify those. Whatever is happening behind the event, like which delegate it is calling, which function it is calling, you cannot do anything. So that is the security which event will provide to the delegate, so that the developer or anyone else cannot change the mechanism behind the event. So that is that is the event. It's a notification mechanism, and delegates which are used by the events.